Hey everybody, and thanks for joining me back here at Slowpoke Racing and with the Ultimate Racing League for the BTCC Replica Challenge, or Championship should I say. This is League 1, and we've just seen, well, we saw, because it was pitch black, a great race around this little circuit in Japan at Tsukuba. It's only just over a mile long. It's taking the guys less than a minute to get around this track, so you can see how small it is. And we're here for race 2 now. The sun has come out. We've got it looks a little bit cloudy, but there's blue skies up there as well, so nice and sunny. Track temperature's raised a bit, so we should be able to see some great racing. The crowd have started to filter in. You can see them there in the stands, and they're looking forward to a good bit of racing. So let's have a look down the grid. Now, this grid is completely random. I'm not sure how the host has selected it, but when I did mine, I just used a number randomizer. So no particular order. It is a completely random grid. So on pole position is Wadru. Stealth is in second. Brownie is in third. Scooby's fourth. Brian Moncani fifth. Bennett is sixth. Grasshopper seventh. Stormfly 8th, Neil Farmack 9th, and Willard is down in 10th. So that is the lineup for race 2. So let's get it underway, shall we? Now, it could be a change of tyres for some people. Everybody was on the softs in race 1. Mediums do have to be used in at least one of the races, and I've got a bit of a feeling that most of the guys are going to save them. Now look how quickly that Focus got off the line, and Stealth is straight into turn 1. Although Wadru has just about managed to keep up with him, Stealth does get himself in front, and that is the speed of the Focus off the line. It just left everybody where they were. So Stealth takes up the lead then. Wadru has gone into second with Scooby in third. He's coming under a challenge from Stormfly already, and Stormfly has managed to get himself up into P3, although Scooby is fighting back as everybody filters through. Brian Moncani up to 5th. Then we've got Bennett in 6th, Brownie, Grasshopper, Neil Farmack in 9th, with Willard down in 10th. As we go around turn 8 and onto this back straight, I forgot where I was then. Stealth still leading then, and he's got the power of that Focus there. 445 metre sprint down towards turn 9. Now it's just taking your time through here, just feathering that throttle. Don't want to push it too far wide. And yeah, great corner there from Stealth. Wadru is now coming under a bit of attack, it looks like, from Stormfly, who's gone very deep into turn 1, but has managed to get himself back on track and chasing these two. Wadru just looking for a little bit of a space so he can get past Stealth. Stormfly having a look at the inside as they go around turn 4. Stealth still leading this one into turn 5 then at Dunlop Corner. Wadru just sitting in second. Let's jump on board with Wadru as we're chasing Stealth down towards turn 8. Hard on the brakes into this hairpin. Oh, and Stealth's gone up a little bit too wide there and opened the door up for Wadru, but I think it was just the power of that Focus getting off the line as what saved him there. Stormfly having to slot in just behind Wadru. Into turn 9 we go. You can see the purple sectors coming up, although I think everybody gets that on lap 2 anyway. So we start all over again. Less than a minute to do this circuit. Again, Stealth going a little bit deep, leaving the door open. He's almost inviting Wadru to come and have a go. And, well, Wadru doesn't need asking twice, does he? So Stealth just needs to be a little bit more defensive, I think. He just needs to get a little bit tighter into these turns. You can see Wadru practically pushing him along. Now you can see the shiny purple. So, great livery on Wadru's car. He is using a new setup, I believe, as well. He's got himself a new wheel, and it seems to be serving him pretty well so far. Again, Stealth going very deep into that turn. You can see that Wadru took a tighter line, but still cannot get by. Stormfly sitting in third. These guys practically pushing each other along. Brian Moncani, he's challenging Bennett. Brian Moncani in 4th. Bennett in 5th. It's Neil Farmack that's challenging Bennett. Neil Farmack just having a look at turn 9 as we go across the line. Neil Farmack trying to get on the inside of Bennett, get that Hyundai slowed down enough, but Bennett goes the long way round but manages to stay into 5th position with Neil Farmack slotting in behind in 6th. Scooby in 7th. He's got Brownie all over the back of him. And who's that? It's Willard having a bit of a look up the inside of Brownie. But Brownie closes the door on Willard. Willard's still there though. He's still having a go. And Grasshopper, well, I think Grasshopper did stop to give roadside assistance. He must have done. He's that far back. But that's just the kind of guy he is. He will pull over and help anybody out. But I'm sure he will be catching up very soon. Although he's got quite a task on his hand. He's on the medium tyres actually, and we are going to have a look. Oh, as we've had a change of lead, let's just go back and see if we can see where that happened. May have gone back a little bit too far, I don't know. But around turn 9 then, Stealth going a bit deep into turn 9. Across the start-finish line. And we got to turn 1 again. Stealth just left the door open. He's left it wide open for Wadru. And, well, Wadru, that was the opening that he'd been looking for. Now, Stealth, as I say, just needs to keep things a little bit tighter. Because otherwise, if he doesn't, Stormfly will be onto that as well. So that's where the overtake took place. So we'll just skip forward just a little bit. Because I did have to go back quite a way. So now it is Stormfly on the chase after Stealth. In fact, we'll go on board with Stormfly, shall we? As we come around turn 1. And this is where it all gets very technical. It is a left, then a right, then a left, hard onto the brakes. Into this tight hairpin, actually called first hairpin. I've said it before, the Japanese not very creative with their corner names. And that was just called first hairpin. This one done on corner though, and then into turn 6 and 7, which brings us into the second hairpin at turn 8. And again, Stealth going very wide, and this has let Stormfly have a bit of a look. But again, it was the power of the Focus that has just managed to pull away from the BMW of Stormfly and keep Stealth in P2. Although now Stormfly trying to get himself up on the inside, and does so. He takes a tighter line and goes through. Although Stealthy's, where is he? Stealthy's there somewhere. Stealth having a quick bit of a look at the inside. But no, couldn't get it on. So Stealth now down to third, having led for the first 4 or 5 laps. In the meantime, Wadru is trying to open up a bit of a gap and get away from the 2 guys behind him. Stealth down to third. Brian Moncani has made his way up into 4th in the Hyundai. He's got Neil Farmack behind him, also in the Hyundai. I think it's the Hyundai Genesis, I think it is. Coupe anyway. Sorry, I've got a right cough. I need a drink. As Neil Farmack chases Brian Moncani to try and get P4 away from him. Brian Moncani trying to keep things a little bit tighter through turn 9. Neil Farmack following him. Bennett in 6. He's coming under the attention from Scooby. Scooby in the BMW up towards turn 1. As Bennett tries to keep things nice and tight. Doesn't want to let give Scooby any room at all. Now I think the BMW has got the pace on a straight, so Bennett really just needs to try and keep Scooby behind him through these tighter sections. The Corolla's gone quite good through the turns, but if he allows Scooby to get any slipstream onto the straight, I've got a feeling that Scooby might well be able to make a move before they get to the end of this straight and into turn 9. Is he close enough though? I don't think he is. I don't think Scooby's going to get close enough to make a move on Bennett. No, he's not. Brownie in 8th in the Honda, with Willard chasing him down. It does seem like the BMWs are able to take a much tighter line through some of these turns, whether it's down to earlier braking, but a great move from Willard up the inside of Brownie there. No problem whatsoever. Just got on the brakes that little bit sooner, which slowed him down, enabled him to make the turn. So Brownie down to 9th. Grasshopper doing his best to catch up. Currently in 10th. He is on the medium tyres. We did say we were going to have a look, so let's have a look, see what everybody else is using. Back up to the top, Woodrow, he's on the softs. In fact, let's just keep going to see if we can find anybody that is on mediums. Yeah, it's just Brownie and Grasshopper. Wow, they're brave, because race 3, the tyre wear gets pumped up just a little bit, and that could prove to be a bad decision by those guys. Although Grasshopper does tend to look after his tyres very well. We shall see how he gets on in race 3. Back up to the top then, and Woodrow still with a few car lengths gap between himself and Stormfly. Stormfly doing everything he can to catch up to the back of Woodrow. We are just over halfway in this second race. Stealth now dropped off the pace by quite a bit actually, and he's now towing Brian Moncani, Neil Farmack and Bennett along. Maybe the Focus is starting to become a bit of a handful. We did say at the beginning that it's a bit of a handful as it starts to get lighter and burn through the fuel, and unfortunately Stealth has allowed Neil Farmack to get through, so Neil Farmack moves up into P3. Stealth is fighting back though. He's trying to have a look up the inside, but he's got to have his eye in the mirror because he's got Brian Moncani all over the back of him. In fact, let's have a look, and we're looking in the mirrors. Where is he? Well, we've lost one. Brian, there he is in the mirror on the left. Brian Moncani is there. He's sitting in 5th. As we go through turns 2 and 3, through the S section, up towards the hairpin of turn 4. A quick look in the mirror again, and Brian Moncani, well, you can see into the eyes. If he lifts that visor up, we can see the whites of his eyes. So Stealth really having to defend hard, and Brian Moncani is just having none of this. He's really putting the pressure on, trying to force a mistake out of Stealth. Now Stealth goes very deep into this hairpin turn, and I thought Brian was going to have a look at that as well. I think maybe Stealth needs to get on the brakes just that little bit earlier, just a few yards earlier, just so that he can get a tighter line through there to stop anybody coming up the inside. So far he's got away with it with Brian Moncani, but as we saw with Woodrow and Stormfly, they took full advantage of it. Now that's a much better line from Stealth. It's nice and tight. Brian Moncani got even tighter into that turn, but still couldn't find a way by Stealth. But Brian really putting the pressure on, trying to force a mistake, and well, he's ready to pounce, isn't he? As soon as he does, a few little bumper kisses from Brian onto the back of Stealth, just to let him know he's there. Nothing too heavy. Bennett though, he's loving this. He's getting a right good view of what's happening just in front of him, and well, he would dearly love them two to have a coming together, wouldn't he? But Bennett just sitting there behind Brian. Willard and Scooby, well, they're having their own little battle, aren't they? Down in 7th and 8th. Scooby having a quick look up the inside as they come into turn 9. Who's bravest on the brakes was the question, and Willard won that one. So Scooby still sitting behind Willard as they come across the line then to start lap 12 into turn 1. And it is still Willard, then Scooby. Grasshopper just sitting there in 9th. He's managed to get by Brownie, so Brownie must have had something go wrong. He has. He's got a half a second penalty. So really struggling on this track is Brownie. Maybe this isn't the one for the Honda. And we're going to be interested to see how he gets on in race 3, because he's going to be on some soft tyres, and they will wear down very quickly. As he approaches the penalty zone, he'll be serving that half a second, which will just drop him off the pace just a little bit more. So back up to the top then, and Woodrow looked like he'd gone off exploring there. He went very deep into turn 9, but he's still out in front. Still got Stormfly chasing him, and it does look like Stormfly's getting a little bit closer. Neil Farmack in 3rd. Well, he's quite a way off, isn't he, at the minute? There is quite a big gap between himself and Stormfly, so the front two can just concentrate on battling each other. Neil Farmack in no man's land, really. He's got nobody in front and nobody behind. Stealth in 4th though. It's a different story for him. He's dragging quite a few cars behind him. Now then, Brian Moncani has a bit of a look up the inside as they're coming around turn 8 and to the hairpin. And as Brian Moncani got by, and I think he has, Brian got through, took the tighter line, Stealth went very wide. Now it is just a drag race down towards turn 9. It is the Focus against the Hyundai. Brian Moncani gets into turn 9 first. Can he just hold on to it? Keeps a nice tight line. Stealth chasing him down. And yeah, great move from Brian Moncani to get himself up into P4, but Stealth is not finished yet. It's now his time to put the pressure on Brian Moncani. Bennett just sitting there behind Stealth. Let's jump on board with Bennett. I'm sure he won't mind. Not that he'll know about it. All the helmets fitted with little cameras, so he doesn't know when we're filming. But we're watching him, a look behind, and we can see we've got Willard and Scooby chasing us down, and Grasshopper just in the distance into turn 8 yet again. And Bennett just not able to get close enough to Stealth. In fact, you can see that Focus just pulling away from the Corolla as they go down this straight. But as soon as we get into the turns, this is where Bennett starts to catch back up again. Brian Moncani opening up a couple of car lengths gap in 4th as we come to the 14th minute and final minute of this race. Sorry, the 15th and final minute of this race. So we will leave Bennett alone. We will go up and have a look and see what's happening up at the pointy end. Wadru out in front in the shiny purple Mercedes. Stormfly sitting in 2nd. So these two are definitely going to be 1 and 2. And unless Wadru makes a mistake, this looks like it could be his race. So this could be race 2 and a different winner. Neil in 3rd, Brian Moncani in 4th, then Stealth, then Bennett, Scooby in 7th, Willard 8th, Grasshopper 9th, and Brownie in 10th. Well, Brownie a long way off, isn't he? So he's definitely had some issues. So as I said earlier, just not his track, not for everybody. As Woodrow comes around Dunlop Corner for the final time in race 2, he'll be glad to see this race over with so he can get off and get something to eat and get himself prepared for race 3, which is coming up a little bit later on, which is going to be in the twilight. So another darker race. So into turn 9 goes Woodrow. Just got to keep it on track, keep it facing the right way, and takes the win. So well done to him. Stormfly in 2nd. Neil Farmack is going to finish in 3rd. Well done to him. Brian Moncani in 4th. That's more like it from Brian Moncani. Stealth in 5th. Bennett 6th. Scooby 7th. Willard in 8th. Grasshopper 9th. And Brownie across the line in 10th. So that was race 2. I shall be back very shortly with race 3.